Back to this. Asmongold predicting the Tesla fire bombings 4 months ago. Okay, here we go.
Which, of course, would mean letting them do what they want, letting them run the table. What they really don't want is for the half the country that voted against them, the half the country that wants to keep our democracy. What they really don't want is for those.
I love how there's always this argument made about keeping democracy when you are literally looking at the numbers from a democratic election and the other person has a bigger number. How do you do this? Like, are you?
Yeah, this is the the problem with democracy, right? Is there's so much, like, nobody likes it, like, especially when they don't get their outcome. There's just so much riding on who wins that people will understandably lose their minds when it doesn't go their way. That's why, like, it's not the best way to run it. It's not the moral way to run it. It's totally predictable that this is going to happen.
Retarded? Like, and this is what I was saying before. I think this is what's that name? That fucking who is this? The short hair, I forgot even her fucking name. Rachel Maddow. This is Rachel Maddow. I wonder, like, imagine talking to a person that lives in a place like Turkey and saying, yeah, we have the same problem with them taking away our democracy too. Donald Trump won the election and we didn't like that. Like, it's ridiculous. Think about how stupid that sounds.
Once again, that's why you shouldn't decide things based on popularity contests, which what a democracy at the end of the day is. Oh, you're going to say, well, America's not a direct democracy, it's a democratic republic. At the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Tens of millions of Americans to wake up tomorrow feeling scrappy as hell.
It's a distinction without a real difference.
What do you want them to do? You want them to go out and do another riot? Go out and, commit crime? Let's go out. Let's start complaining.
Like, why would anyone be surprised by this? They did the same thing when Trump won the first time. Like, cities were burning.
Maybe they can make. Of course. Anybody could have predicted this was going to happen. What you need to understand is that the people that do this kind of stuff, they have a moral mandate to do so. Anything bad that they do is okay because they're doing it to people that are bad. So there's no.
I'd say morality doesn't really have even much to do with it. It's just they just crave power. They didn't get power, so they're freaking out. I don't think morals plays into this at all. Most people, like the NPCs that vote, like, there's just morality is not in their head when they're voting.
No line that people like this won't cross. There's no. It gets better. Oh, here we go. We'll watch the rest of it. Yeah, some tweets and caps lock. Maybe that'll really do something different. January 7th. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, go out. Yeah, where's the nearest AutoZone? Why don't you go out and burn it down?
It's pretty funny that he kind of got the exact thing that was going to happen. Not quite exact, but close enough. I'll give it to him. That's a legit prediction.
That will stop. You know what? Nothing says democracy more than burning down an AutoZone. I guess this is my idea. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Jesus. Yeah, wow. Yeah, they took it literally. You fucking called it? Yeah. Yeah, no, this is what these people do. And the reason why they do it is because the government lets them do it. The government lets them do it, and we don't put the foot down on people that do this harder.
See, like, this is what I don't get about Asmon. He'll have, like, moments of clarity like this where he'll understand that the problem here is the government, and that, like, it can't effectively stop. The one thing that it should be able to do, the one thing that, like, libertarians or whatever, minarchists will say, that the one thing government should be able to do is prevent violence against peaceful people, and it can't even do that right. Like, it can't. The government can't stop violence, and it shouldn't even try. Like, it's so bad at everything that it does, including this.
Sure. And that's a big issue. Let's see here. I'll read a few.
Like, it's a monopoly. It has a monopoly on force, and it can't even use it right. It can't point it in the right direction. Like it's absurd.
Coaching to profit feels weird to leftomaniacs keep pushing me of libertarian persuasion to wish for an authoritarian police state. I don't want it, but in some aspects it would be nice. You need an authoritarian police state in cases where you have people that are behaving like an authoritarian police.
All right, here's where he goes off the rails in typical Asmongold fashion. Anything involving the state, like he's pretty much a full-on statist, and he just can't think straight. It's statism is basically a religion at this point. And yeah, Asmon is a full-blown statist, so I'm not surprised he's saying this.
Police state. It's the same reason why you need to have regulation in order to have free markets. Because free markets with no regulation, the people that control the market then make the market not free.
This is a complete misunderstanding of how free markets operate. We don't have a free market right now, and no, when you do have a free market, people don't just take it over. They're like, the free market can regulate itself. It doesn't need outside regulation. Absolute brain dead statist take here.
And so that's the issue. You can't just allow this to happen by itself. You have to nurture it into happening. And there have to be guardrails to prevent people from creating their own police state. That's
Think about this. Like, if there was a free market on security, like if Tesla was like, I know you can hire security companies, but there's only so much they can do. When the state has a monopoly on violence, like, you can't actually defend yourself effectively, and you can't hire people to defend your property for you effectively, right? So like, if Tesla could hire its own security and seek out retribution for people burning down its property, this wouldn't be happening. I guarantee you it wouldn't be happening. And if a security company that you hired let it happen, guess what? You could fire it and hire one that actually does protect your property. So this is, once again, statist take.
That's the issue. Dealerships are setting fire to their cars to collect insurance and blame the hate over Tesla. That'd be funny if they were doing that, wouldn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that does happen. But if it did, that'd be really funny. People on Reddit are cheering certain crimes just because they fit the narrative, like burning down Tesla dealerships or vandalizing cars. The reason why they're okay with it is because they think that they're morally justified to do so. And I'm going to tell you guys.
No, I mean, you could look at it that way, but no, the reason they're okay with it is because these are immoral people. They don't care about morality. They just care about power and getting what they want. And because they didn't get what they want, they think violence is a suitable recourse to that. It's ridiculous.
Guys, what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next is that Republicans and conservatives are going to do this too. And
no, at least not against private businesses. Like, generally when Republicans riot, they go after the government. It's pretty rare. I'm going to say it's almost unheard of for Republicans and right-wing people to be targeting businesses, even if they're left-wing. Like, you got to think, like, what was the last Republican? Maybe like the Bud Light thing. They weren't burning down breweries or going to the store and setting Bud Light on fire. They may buy Bud Light and then shoot it, or they already had Bud Light and they're going to vandalize their own property, but that's not against it's your own property, right? So it's completely different. And I don't think Republicans or right-wing people do this kind of thing. This is like a exclusively left-wing problem.
The difference is that they're going to have the power of the government on their side. And so eventually there's going to be a company, and nope.
Yeah, absolutely
okay.
not.
All right. Well, let's wait and see. Give it 3 years. Give it 3 years. Clip it right now. Let's give it 3 years. I'll bet on that. Yes.
Yeah, he's not going to get this one.
We're not we're not any better than anybody else. If you honestly think that if another company did something like this, that conservatives would not go out and burn down their cars, you are out of your mind. Of course.
Dude, that's not happening. If the owner of, is there like a left-wing car company? I don't think so. But like if the owner of Toyota, because they make Prius, I'm gonna say they're left-wing because they make Priuses, even though they're not. But if the owner of Toyota got into the US government and started, I don't know, what's like a right-wing or conservative thing that they like the government does? The military, right? If Toyota got into the government and started cutting military funding somehow, I don't know how they would do it. But anyways, let's imagine they did that. There is no way that there's gonna be right-wing riots in the streets burning down Priuses. Like that's not happening.
They would do that. Why wouldn't they do that? If you've already, here's the thing, you've already built the circus. You've built the circus. Don't be surprised when other clowns start coming in and doing the same thing that you are. Nope. All right. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think that the backlash from this is going to be worse than what happened with Tesla. Like, because you saw this a little bit with Bud Light, but this was all like just people complaining about it publicly. And the right rarely riots. Yes, but when the right does riot, it's a big deal. I disagree. Look at who the right targeted and who the who on the left is targeting now.
Wow, the one time Asmon's chat actually has a brain. Usually they're I mean, maybe he's selectively reading, but usually they're kind of dumb. But this time they're against him on this.
Oh God, some people are so naive. You actually think that there's any degree of morality? Absolutely not. The moment that people have the ability to do this, they will do it. It's not real. Like, it really, yeah, look at McCarthy.
No, in general,
there's plenty of examples of this.
Okay, well, in general, just the right wing, conservatives, Republicans, their problem usually is with the state overstepping. It's not with companies doing things they don't like, right? Because like companies, they can't actually force you to do anything. Unlike the state, who has a monopoly on violence and coercion, companies can't force you to do things. So like, there's no reason to be going out and destroying their property when they do something you don't like. You just don't buy their products, right? Or the products that you did buy, you just destroy to show your displeasure with.
That happened. It's kid chatter. Yeah, January 6th, right-wing riot. That was a pretty big one, wasn't it? Did anyone burn any George Soros assets? No, but what happens when it starts happening? What happens when it starts happening and then other...
And it's also kind of dubious that, like, who actually instigated the riot, and there's a whole bunch of background things he's not mentioning here.
Other people do the same thing. Because that's what's going to happen. What I'm saying is that it's very simple. If you create the precedent that a form of acceptable political discourse is violence and vandalism and terrorism, you will only have to wait in order for that to be used against you. And also, keep in mind, this is exactly what happened with Twitter. And this, people accuse Elon Musk of silencing people who are his critics. Yes. He's silencing them with the tools that you made. You made these tools, you made this machine, and you think it's never going to be used against you? What are you, retarded? Of course it will be. Yeah, MLK said violence creates violence. Yeah, anybody who's not retarded knows that. You're naive. Yes, if you create a weapon to use against other people, the only thing you need to do to have that weapon used against you is to wait.
I get what he's saying here, but I don't think it generally applies to literally violent mobs in the street burning down private property. Comparing that to, I get what he's saying, like, you create the tool in terms of Twitter, but even Twitter, like, Twitter is not an echo chamber anymore, right? You see opinions from both sides all the time. You see crazy left-wing opinions, and you see some insane right-wing opinions as well. So I don't think this is a good example.
That's it. And eventually, this is what's going to happen. And I was right. And there's actually even more of this too. Let me see if I can find more of this, because as no surprise here, let me see if I can pull it up. There are more people burning Teslas. So here we go. Gamers boycotted buying games. The wokies do this. Tell me again that both sides are just as bad. Well, if you think about video games to video games, when gamers decided not to buy Concord, they made YouTube videos making fun of Concord. When woke people decided not to buy Hogwarts Legacy, they made attack lists on the people that were playing Hogwarts Legacy, and then they viciously painted them as transphobes and tried to destroy their life.
So this is why I don't really understand his argument from before. He's saying, oh, the right's going to do the same thing. Like, this is a clear example of them handling situations completely differently, right? So
that's it. And so several Teslas were set on fire in Las Vegas. And let's see here. Here's more comments. Very satisfying. Yeah, Tesla stock tumbled down 4.8%. Tesla stock skittled more than 6%. What do we
I wonder, like, is this compared to like? I wonder like how much of this is just the general market going down, and how much of it is Tesla specifically.
need? What number do we need for him to lose it because of Twitter? What do we need to make it hit that number? I told, like, again,
Yeah,
the
this is
fact that the
insane.
government isn't getting down on these people for effectively promoting and facilitating domestic terrorism, honestly, I think they deserve it at this point, because the FBI and like the White House,
Like it's not, you can't really say this person is specifically promoting terrorism. Not, at least not, there's not enough evidence to say that. But like if they're asking like what else do we need to destroy, then yeah, maybe this guy deserves a visit.
I was like, the government, they should be able to get on top of these people and stop this from happening, but they're not doing it. I don't know why they're not doing it. They will. You need to do something quickly, because the longer that you let something like this go on, the worse it gets. Deign to throw the book at these people? They do. Doesn't that statement show you wrong, though? The type of protest is a different one. It was a direct protest against the government itself, and the other one was against the common people.
Yeah.
Doesn't this prove me wrong? No. So this is a big difference, okay? So basically, doesn't that statement show you wrong, though? The type of protest is different. One was a direct protest against government. The other was against common people. So the big difference is that common people are not accountable to you as an individual. So this is a big difference between government and private culture and private society and private industry. So the government is accountable to people, whereas as was a person is not.
All right, no. All right. In an ideal magical world where the government is not accountable to people. The government is accountable to its donors, and it's accountable to basically only itself. It like once they gain power, the government is not accountable to the people whatsoever. And even if you say that they are, at most it's like 50% of the people, and it's just enough to keep them in power. It's very rare the government is accountable to people. It should be individuals are accountable to other individuals, right?
And think about this logically. If every single person was accountable to every other person, think about how much chaos that would create. So you don't
That would be the opposite of chaos. Like, what is
have the right to protest against another person exercising their rights as a free individual. Because if you're protesting against their ability to run a business or anything like that, you can protest, but the moment that you do it in a destructive way because they're not listening to you, they shouldn't have to listen to you. Because think about what would happen if they did. Then you can just get together and just bully any company to do anything that you want. So,
like, if you mean just like ostracism, right, or boycotting, which is not really against like you're not initiating aggression, that's fine. You can pressure companies into doing what you want by like boycotting them, by not buying their products, by telling other people not to buy their products. That's totally fine, right? But that's not what is going on here. They're literally destroying private property.
So yes, the big difference is that the government is made as an apparatus to be accountable to the people. And private industry is not the same way, and neither are private citizens. So being violent because a private citizen will not do what you want them to do is a violation of that person's liberty, and it's a violation of that person's freedom. Whereas in the government, that's the government working as intended.
Yes, the government working as intended is violating your freedom and liberty. Yes.
So it's a huge difference.
I'll agree with him on this.
Massive, gigantic difference. And you cannot compare the two at all. We all have our own interests, yes. But protesting them isn't. Protesting is totally fine as long as it doesn't break the law. That's the only issue. So, oh, and this is also, here we go.
Keep in mind, destroying property is not protesting. Let's just get that out of the way. Absolutely not.
So again, this is another person that's celebrating this stuff. We got old Baldy here. Old Baldy. He's coming back.
Who listens to
and
this
as the trend of extremism continues, how long before you have a modern Boston Day Tea Party that throws us into a war? Well, the Boston Tea Party, the reason why... So a lot of people, and it's very funny, right? People are like, oh, well, remember the Boston Tea Party? That's why it's okay that we can burn down a Tesla.
No, that's insane. Once again, insanity. Boston Tea Party was protesting against a monarchy at the time, right? Is taxation without representation, right? So they were protesting getting taxed because the British government was trying to pretty much upkeep their own tea sales, right? And it was like the East India Company, I believe, that was selling tea. So they were taxing the American colonist tea while not taxing the British tea.
The
So it was
reason
against
why
taxation
is because they were
from a
protesting against a
monarchy.
monarchy. They had no other democratic means to make the government accountable to them other than doing that. That was it. That was the only thing they could do. What the hell are you talking about? Well, what I'm saying is that in the cases of like a lot of these older things, like people use Boston Tea Party as an example, is that you didn't have representation. These people are being represented. They just lost the vote.
Once again, that shouldn't be a thing, right? These things should not be left up to votes at all. The government should be using its coercive force to be able to tax you because your neighbor decided that you should be taxed. It's insanity, pure insanity. It's not moral. It's not just. It's complete just government coercion deciding what it wants to do, just based on who's paying for it.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So
Think about how insane this is. This guy is an elected representative, and he's celebrating the fact that an American company stock is dropping because of political terrorism or just terrorism. Because their cars are getting caught, they're being set on fire by literal terrorists in domestic terrorists in the United States, and this sitting representative is celebrating that. Like, how insane is that?
And if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, you know, and take out. Just telling you.
Yeah, if you own one, we're not blaming you, but we're gonna destroy a company's private property.
Saying on my
This is going to be bad. It really is, because what they're doing is they're writing the framework that's going to be used against a company that they're supportive of, and all of the people that are going to do it to this company in the future are going to feel completely justified in doing it because these people have set the stage and set the rhetoric to make it acceptable.
It's not going to happen.
And this is
the right's not going to start burning down private businesses. I can almost guarantee it.
It's what's going to happen.
That's not
And
how they
so,
operate.
boring old shit. Yeah, exactly, right. And yeah, it's inviting chaos. So he's supporting terrorism. Yes, he is indirectly supporting terrorism, because one of the
100%
reasons why Tesla's stock is going down. Now, I've said this before. I think another big reason why Tesla's stock is going down is it got massively overvalued during the election, and it was artificial to begin with, and it's a market
That's
correction.
debatable, but
And
maybe.
also the market in itself is going down, so it's another.
If this guy had said that, like, wow, people are boycotting Tesla because we don't like what Elon Musk is doing, right? If that, but he said, but the people who are burning down the Tesla dealerships, they're completely in the wrong and they should be arrested. This would be a completely different conversation, but he's not. He's straight up celebrating this stuff, which makes sense. He's from Minnesota, and I'm pretty sure him and his wife were pro the George Floyd protests.
Another reason.
So, makes
So
perfect
people,
sense.
I think there's a bit of delusions of grandeur here, but let's not pretend like people having their cars burned down constantly isn't negatively affecting the company. Of course it's negatively affecting the company. So what you're doing is you're celebrating domestic terrorism.
100%.
You are. This is a prior vice presidential candidate that's on stage who is celebrating and encouraging domestic terrorism. It's disgusting. And the thing is that I feel bad for him. And the reason why is because I know how these things go. People are going to do the same thing to him. And they are going to do it much worse than what people are doing to Tesla.
They won't. If he means like the right side of the political spectrum doing this to private businesses, it's not going to happen. I'll say it again.
They will. And they will think that they are completely justified. I'm just waiting to see it. He's a fucking creep. Well, not him particularly, but him as like his group of people. Houses of individuals, I bet. Yeah. Mostly because Musk is trying to get involved in other countries' politics. Well, I mean, what does this have to do with Tim Walz? I mean, he's a fucking governor of Minnesota, right?
That has nothing to do with
I don't
anything.
know what he really has to do with.
Like there are other, like in Canada here, I'm pretty sure we even have Tesla violate vandalism as well. But this has nothing to do with Tim Walz.
And so yeah. And let me see here, more 10 laws down the road. And this is also another big issue, is that the more of this extremism that you see, we're also speed running authoritarian nanny state, and the lack of anonymity and people's ability to have open conversations anonymously on the internet. Because when you have all these people that are openly endorsing and celebrating and planning domestic terrorism on the internet, you can't expect that the government and all of the powers that be are just going to say, oh, well, I guess we're going to lose. No, they're going to make the Patriot Act version 2. And when that happens, you're going to get real ID on the internet. You're going to get much more speech laws as well. And you're going to get a bunch of laws and regulations that give the government pretty much the authority to control what you're saying or punish you for saying something that's even less critical than what's being said now.
Yeah, so he's pretty much admitting that the government sucks at everything it does. And it's its response to, instead of arresting the people doing this stuff and pretty much getting rid of politicians like this, they're gonna, instead of doing that, they're gonna start surveilling citizens who aren't doing anything wrong. That's gonna be the government's response to all this. Wonderful.
That's like Germany? Not like Germany. I don't think it's going to be the same as Germany, but it's going to be similar. Do you think extremely partisan U.S. politics is the result of only 2 parties? No, I think it's a result of media. Yeah, now Musk will try privatize the government before then. Well, we'll see what happens, right? I wouldn't expect that, but we'll see. And Germany got America? Yeah, further control because people can't act right with the freedom they've taken for granted. Yeah, exactly. And it's really scary to me because I can see this happening. I can see this happening, and it's so obvious. And again, if people think that it's not happening, please just wait. Just wait. You're going to see it happen. Let me see if I can find a few more of these. And also, like, this is what he's celebrating, right? He's saying that this is what's making him happy. Tesla owners are being doxxed and threatened. You're having these things being set on fire. There are dealerships that are being destroyed. This is millions of dollars in damage and also police money, right? Think about the amount of money that it costs the police to litigate and, like, make all this stuff, like, happen or not happen. It's a huge investment of resources that are just being evaporated because of bullshit. They're being evaporated for bullshit reasons like this. Politicians openly supporting terrorism is a new low. Not for long, it won't be. And I'm telling you, when people on the right start pushing back against this, it is going to be really, really fucking bad. And think about what happened with immigration. I think that immigration is like a very good microcosm of this happening. Back in 2016, most people were not for open, like, mass deportations. Now you have people celebrating with music videos of these people getting deported to a foreign country, having their head shaved, and then placed in one of the most brutal prisons of all time.
He's right that, like, the temperature has definitely gone up, especially, like, surrounding immigration. Like, ideally, you would have, if there was no state, there would be no border, and then you would just have private citizens deciding who can enter in on their own land and negotiate that way. But just with the state in its current form and the incentives that things like welfare programs provide or other assistance the government provides, it's just a giant dinner bell to everyone in the world to come to America, right? So, like, ideally, if the state was dissolved and there were no borders, people would be able to come freely and go freely just based on who owns the property and deciding who can go on their land. But it's not like that.
Just for being in the United States. So if you don't take people seriously and you try to make people out like they're extremists, you know what's going to happen? They're going to turn into extremists. And that's exactly what's happened on the immigration issue. Is that people were pressured into not talking about it because it's racist and you don't understand it. Like, no, this is the country's full of immigrants. It's okay. And eventually, people get tired of it. And now you have everybody, not everybody, but you have a majority of the population that supports mass deportations wholesale. It doesn't matter if it's a grandma, a gang member, or a kid. Get them the fuck out of the country. And that level of extremism was created because the moderate viewpoint wasn't accepted. That's what happens. And the same thing is going to happen with this. It's actually crazy. Well, I'll watch this.
The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because
I mean, yeah, Tesla used to be, you would virtue signal buying your Tesla because like, oh, I'm doing it for the environment. Imagine how much damage you did to the environment by burning that, like a bunch of Teslas, from all the batteries, all that smoke and stuff going up into the air from all the burning Teslas. You probably just undid, I don't know how many cars were, tens of thousands of cars of just driving along the road. How much damage did you do to the environment by burning those Teslas? How much toxic chemicals you leached in the air that's going to rain back down?
their entire political worldview is ruled by their
Which once again, they don't, which proves like the left wing, they don't care about the environment. It's all about power and control. It's nothing to do with the environment.
emotions. And
Lovely.
that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People
Look at this bitch's dumb face. She's gonna say something really stupid.
ought to be put in
I can tell.
jail
Just by
and
looking
left
at her
there
dumb
for a very
face.
long time and be taught a lesson.
So there's more to this too.
Do it to a Tesla. So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
I'm not aware of anyone setting the halls of Congress on fire. But okay.
No, I've never. I don't support.
I'm so glad this is the media personification of every retard in my chat. Every retard, every day, comes up with the same programming. This is such a stupid reply. It is.
Okay,
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January.
Absolute smooth brain reply. This lady is certified retard.
I'm so sorry.
Give me 1 second. Let me turn up the audio. Sorry, it's pretty low.
Are we okay with the
Let me just turn it back down again. And listen to what she's saying again.
Pardon them. Is that your position?
No,
Is that your position?
I don't
Are
support.
we okay with the
I know you haven't been
Are
around
you
for
okay with them? No.
a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me educate you. No, you don't need to. You don't need to be condescending to me. So let me educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let's do this January 6th and then near.
I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do.
She meant to say you're a condescending bitch. That's what he was thinking.
So here's the issue. I didn't support what happened on January the 6th and was one of the first Republicans to call it out. I don't support the pardons. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here.
I want to just play this clip every time a retard in chat goes and says the exact same thing. Based as fuck? Yes. Exactly. Fucking finally, this condescending, like, this stupid bitch is sitting here with the same logic every single fucking time. Every bad thing that we do is okay because of January 6th. It's outrageous. And then assuming that the other person supports it.
And it's not completely clear that the state was not involved in the January 6th riots, by the way. A lot of credible evidence points to it. FBI informants being involved and all that stuff.
Said that no violence in our political system is acceptable.
Exactly.
But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terrorist.
By the way, it doesn't matter what Elon Musk is doing. Elon.
He's not engaging in violence at the bare minimum. And if they're destroying his company's property, they're initiating force against a peaceful citizen. Like it's absurd, especially like one like him who has done so much, has started so many companies. Like what he has done is going to be more than the people who are braiding these cars, their entire bloodline has ever done or ever will do, most likely. Like, it's absurd.
Elon Musk could be a terrible person, and a lot of people think he is. It still doesn't give you the justification to destroy his property, or to destroy property because you think it's representative of him. That's, again, going back to what I was saying before about how private citizens are not accountable to the public.
Threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous. I've sat at this table and had people say, we should cut Elon Musk from the government totally. He rescued our astronauts today. Is that what we want? The treatment of this guy is outrageous. These people who are doing this need to be found, put in jail, and made an example of. That's
absolutely. He is totally fucking right.
Anyone who commits violence against Tesla or Congress or anyone else should be put in jail.
So what is this? So why is she flip-flopping here? What's going on?
1,000%. But that should not stifle dissent.
She's completely backpedaling here. That's not what you were saying at the beginning.
Or opposition from Elon.
See, now you see that the tone completely changes.
She got called out for being a dumb bitch. She realizes it, and now she's backpedaling.
Because you get called out on this obvious, disingenuous, like, framing of this consistent narrative. The moment that she gets shut down on it, she immediately becomes reasonable, and it's instantaneously the common sense position that every single person should have. She backed down? Yeah, of course.
Give it a little lip service. Give it a little both sides. Go ahead.
So John, both sides here.
It'll be both sides pretty soon.
I love looking at the camera like that.
This is what's going to happen. It will be both sides. He's called her out. He did. And we need a word for whenever a Karen evolves into their stage 2. Well, this is what happens, right? It's more condescending, obnoxious, stupid Karens. That, remember what I said before, is that all of the problems in society, socially, are because of two groups of people. Karen.
Is this lady a Karen? I thought Karen was just like an annoying older white lady. I don't think this is a older white lady. I don't know what she is.
And incels. Every problem culturally
or has it evolved
is one
to just
or
be
the
an
other.
annoying older woman.
That's it. Domestic terrorism is bad, whether it's on Tesla or January 6th, it does not matter. Like, what are we talking about? The problem is that people constantly try to make justifications for it, and it's embarrassing. It really is. And so hopefully we'll be able to move past that now. But thank you guys for these streams. Yeah, for sure. No one feels sorry for the richest man in the world losing probably what's a very small portion of his wealth. I do, however, think that we should feel more towards the personal owners of vehicles. I think that if any...
This commenter is a certified retard once again. It's just because he's wealthy does not make it right whatsoever to be destroying his property or his customer's property or his company's property. It's brain dead take. Oh my God.
Anybody has their property destroyed or anybody is a victim of bad treatment, that they are a victim. And I don't like this idea where groups of people get together and they decide to take away a person's autonomy to be a victim.
It's 100%. These people are not operating from any kind of moral principles. It's all to do with how they feel in the moment, and if they feel it's justified to burn down someone's car, they'll do it.
Like, anybody can be a victim of bad behavior.
Principles.
It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much money you don't have. Now, you can personally not feel bad for them. There are a lot of cases where bad things happen to people, and I don't care about the bad thing happening to them. Who cares? But the difference is that I don't justify it happening and act like it shouldn't be taken seriously. Why pay taxes if they can destroy your stuff? Yeah, exactly. There's no excuse for it, and people trying to justify it for this reason are dumb as fuck. Yeah. Elon's lost over 103 billion since January 20th. Not really. I mean, it's all like theoretical, speculative worth. I mean, like, yeah, he's very rich, right? But like all of this money and all of this wealth is all speculative, theoretical value based off of the company. It's stocks, right? It's not like they said 100.
Yeah, dude. So Elon's not sitting on $100 billion of cash, right? This is all just the value, the theoretical value of his company.
You know, a bunch of $100 bills on fire, like in fucking Dark Knight or something. It's theoretical money. If the chatter was Musk, would you feel the same? Yeah, and that's really the difference, right? Is that people love to find different excuses to dehumanize somebody else in order to make them an acceptable target for bad behavior. And it's very common.
All right, cool. So overall, I'd say Asman has the right take on all of this, just certain points when it comes to government coercion and actions. Is he's a simp for the government. Like is just like the main issue I have with Asmund is just his take on the state in general. But let's see, let's see the comments. Shooting Bud Light cans you purchase from the beer store in your own backyard is a bit different than going to private business and burning hundreds of thousands of dollars of someone else's property. True and real. Let's give that a like. It's not violence, peaceful protest. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, people will continue justifying this bullshit. Republicans didn't burn down. Exactly. It's true. Do we have any disagreeers in the comments, or is everyone agreeing? That's good to see. All right. That's the end of the video. Stay tuned for more. Bye-bye for now.